I am speaking with.
Rohit Gupta,
Who are you with, Rohit?
Alert Logic.
And what do you guys do?
We're a security as a service provider.
Excellent. And you guys have published a report about the secure state of, well, both cloud security versus on-premise security. And what have you discovered?
We have found that cloud environments may even be safer than on-premise environments, something that most people wouldn't expect in looking at the state of the cloud.
You know, I have covered the RSA conference before, and this is a very, very hot topic there. And I guess it's just the fear of the unknown because people feel more secure when it's their own equipment. But that's only my sort of, shoot from the hip reaction. What do you think is the reason the cloud is more secure and why people might feel on-premise is more secure?
So it's about control. People feel that when they're in control, they're more secure. When data is inside their firewall, inside their network, they feel like they have control over it. And when they're putting the data in a public cloud environment or in a service provider environment, they have less control. And it's a myth because people do not realize that their own networks may be more compromised or more likely to be compromised than a service provider's network. And the simple reason is a service provider has to provide security for many, many customers and is often governed by some compliance requirement or the other. So they have to actually have more stringent controls and better processes than even corporates have in their own network.
So, I mean, it's really just about more talent looking at the data that keeps it more secure? I mean, do you think it just boiled down to that? Or were there more specific things about, I guess, how a cloud environment was architected versus an on-premise environment?
Yes, there are definitely more reasons than just having better talent. And it may not be that they have the best talent necessarily, but the architecture definitely helps. So imagine virtualization has a strong role to play in this, access control mechanisms that may be more necessary for cloud environments, so they're more likely to be there. Encryption is another way a lot of companies are handling this problem. So yes, there are many different things that cloud environments provide that are new even for corporate environments, which provide better security.
Were you surprised that cloud environments were more secure?
We had been watching our customer networks for a while, and we had seen this trend. But when we started really digging into the data, we were surprised a little bit that, yes, they were at least on par, if not better. But what surprised us was the amount of activity in the web applications. And that's where the attack surface is the highest, and that's where we're seeing the most compromises happening.
Give me an idea, how much more damaging is the web application surface for attacks?
Web applications are, the main reason for companies to move to the cloud, and web applications have never been designed really with a lot of security in mind, and that's where a lot of attacks are happening. And what we are finding is there's a lot of activity in web application attacks using commercially, freely available open source products as well. And so some of these tools were written for helping developers test their applications, but they're now being used by hackers to actually penetrate applications. So that area is new and different from your traditional applications.
Were there any other surprises from your study? I mean, that's what I'm always kind of fascinated. I mean, you said you looked at over a billion, I don't know what the number was, but a billion incidents. What more surprised you?
So we looked at 1.5 billion events in this last year, and we distilled them down into 70,000 verified activities that we wanted to pursue with our Security Operations Center. And what we found is that the service provider environments have a different set of attacks. There are different classes of attacks. So, for example, brute force attacks are more likely to be against corporate networks and not as much against service provider environments. And that's partly because service providers have tools to protect against things like DDoS that may not be available in every corporate environment.
Excellent. Rohit, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.